This is episode 368 with me, Justin House, on TrueHouse live stream on Monday the 7th of June. Welcome. Right, there's my intro. Such a polished performance. What a pro. But at least I can smile for a thumbnail. But yeah, if you hit the request, because Lee's been doing it, and it will show me on my screen Doug wants to come on, and I will immediately hit it. There it is. Brilliant, Doug. Brilliant. Go live with Doug Kelly. Right, give it literally a second or two and you will appear. Because I've immediately said yes. Yeah, there he is, there he is.
Bosh.
How are you, brother?
In the house.
You okay?
Yeah, how you doing, bud?
I'm all right, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, not too shabby, mate. Yeah, I felt a little bit under pressure as soon as you said earlier.
Go on.
I felt a bit under pressure. All of a sudden, I felt how you most probably feel doing it. I'm like, fucking hell, man.
It's like, oh my God, got to go live. No, you mustn't.
And I've got like the outside chair here.
Yeah.
I needed to find somewhere to hook this video up and all the rest of it.
Okay.
So
Okay.
And this is like a fucking garden chair, so it's uncomfortable as fuck.
Oh no, what? Because you just needed a chair to get the right height, sort of thing.
I've got loads of cushions on it and all the rest of it, so if some fucking hat rack don't start paying up, I start pulling funny faces, you know what I mean?
Just start going down like this, just that like
Yeah,
that's all
I
right.
look like I'm fucking holding in a fucking turd or something, you know what I mean?
It's so funny because I noticed this. I mean, it's taken me. I mean, people think it's easy, and it is easy, but like you say, it's the little things that you're describing that you've got to have.
As I said, I instantly felt under pressure.
Really? Oh, bless. I mean, look, I've got to be honest. I'm 368 streams in, and I still, every 5 minutes before I go live, have those feelings of, oh shit, you know. But it's daft because it's only having a chat, and it's not like I've got a gazillion followers, you know what I mean? So it's not, there's no big, I mean, God only knows what people feel like when they've got a really massive audience. That must be scary.
Yeah, I suppose in time that, you know, when these people like your Joe Rogans and that,
right?
I suppose in time they're used to that after years and years.
Exactly. I mean, I'm trying to think about this, Doug. When you put me onto Joe Rogan's podcast, which was 2011, I mean, even then it was a big audience. But it wasn't in the realms of the millions that he's now got. I mean, he's got, I don't know what he's at, probably 10 million, I'm guessing, but it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. I mean, I
God
wonder
knows how many he's got, but yeah. Well, I mean, you know, he's one of the icons of this.
He is.
He's one of the originators, really, isn't he? Let's get it right.
He is, Doug. He is, because I watched a video, a lovely conversation with him and a guy called Adam Carolla. Now Adam Carolla, typical sort of New York Jewish, you know, lots of thick Adam Sandler, curly black hair, glasses. If you saw Adam Carolla, you'd recognise him. And he was actually literally Rogan's inspiration. And there's Adam Carolla, who Rogan openly credits with giving him the to actually do it. What I find amusing is that all of Rogan's friends, like Bill Burr and Bert and his wife.
Joey Diaz.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, all those that little group he's got, and like Brendan and all of those.
Because I see Brendan and Brian are back together, right? Because they had a little thing when there was that controversy around Brian.
Yeah. Are they broadcasting again?
Yeah.
Are they?
Yeah.
I
see them wrestling in the studio. Brian Callen was trying to take Brendan down, but Brendan just, was about to snap his arm.
I was going to say, Brendan's quite a thick...
Too big.
He's a thick lad, isn't he?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I mean, Callen, fair play to Callen. He's got that, he's lean and he's got a pair of legs on him. You know, he's often like dropped his trousers and you can see Callen's got some legs. He's done some squats for those. He's naturally a small guy, isn't he?
Yeah. I think he's in his early 50s, right?
Yeah. I think Rogan and Callen, that group, they're all 53, 54.
Yeah.
I noticed Tom Segura. Now, do you know Tom Segura with the beard? Quite a fat guy. He always had Tom Segura and Bert, I've forgotten his last name now, but all of his little group used to look at Rogan in the early days, 2011, 2012, and mock him about doing podcasts. They say, what's he doing that for? You know, no, that's never going to catch on. You know, and that was literally when you put, because I remember so clearly, I remember the conversation with you, and I only knew Joe Rogan as the UFC guy who did a bit of stand-up. That's all I knew. That's all, and I knew he'd done a couple of films. But I knew him as the UFC commentator who was also like a stand-up comedian, and that was my entire knowledge. And I didn't even know what a podcast was until you put me onto that and Heavy Muscle Radio.
Yeah.
So those were the two. Those were the two. And it was literally Chris Aceto, Dave Palumbo, and Joe Rogan, again, both because of you. And that got me through my dialysis, mate, because each one was 2 or 3 hours long.
Yeah, I vaguely remember the combo because obviously I knew how long you was having to sit through those.
Exactly, six hours a time.
You, while you're doing that, you need to kind of,
Yeah, and it was perfect, Doug, because I could watch either 3 2-hour episodes or 2 3-hour episodes, and all of a sudden my 6-hour dialysis shrunk because I was so, you know, balls deep in watching conversations, you know.
I remember I was, when I went out to Turkey and I had these done,
Yeah.
I was, it took them 3 hours to file my teeth. Well, about 3.5 hours to file my teeth. They look already getting uncomfortable in this fucking chair.
Right.
And I remember putting my earpods on, and they dish out like drugs to you at will. You know, if you feel a little bit uncomfortable, let's say, right? Mm. So I said, I'm a little bit nervous, right? And they gave me diazepam.
Oh, sleepy, nice and sort of monged out,
so
right?
I put my earphones in. I was actually listening to Sebastian Maniscalco.
Oh, hilarious! I love Sebastian. That was another one from you.
And of course, I just fucking fell asleep.
Did you?
And 3 hours felt like about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And the man kept waking me up, going, "Oh, Mr. Douglas, Mr. Douglas."
Mr. Douglas.
Because I was closing my mouth.
Yep.
I was like, I'm asleep.
Yeah.
And they put like these plastic bridges.
Oh, really?
To keep my mouth open because I was just fucking sound asleep.
Right, with a clamped jaw. Oh my God. So
but it was easy.
That's interesting. So did you literally lose concept of time in terms of time spent in the chair because of the
felt like I was there half hour.
Wow. That's very interesting because normal REM sleep, like rapid eye movement, deep REM sleep, I mean, they say, there's a guy whose book I recently bought on Audible called Matthew Walker, and he's an Englishman who Rogan's had on, and he's a sleep expert, and he talks about the power of, if you have very good sleep, natural sleep, you don't have any concept of how long you've slept for, but you wake up ever so refreshed. And the real argument was, does diazepam, Ambien, all that sort of stuff, does it promote real sleep, or are you being just basically forced into a very deep sleep that otherwise you wouldn't naturally get? And I found that very interesting, and I bought his book out on Audible just to compare, like you've described, falling asleep, which is really induced, i.e. diazepam, nitrat, you know, and I've done God knows enough of that, versus natural sleep. And as you say, normally the tablet version, you don't have any idea of how long you've been. Well, you in your case, you described you lost that concept of time, which I find very interesting. The chemical assistance versus natural, and waking up from one versus the other. Did you think you were out a long time, or was it just in your mind a very short time?
Yeah, I mean, I knew how long the process was going to take because they tell you all beforehand. So I knew that because of the amount of teeth that I'd done, like 21 was going to take 3.5 hours.
Wow.
So it was only then I kind of, obviously in a bit of a daze, that when I woke up, I thought, fucking hell, man. So that's when it's, because obviously they're waking me up then to tell me it's done. And then I thought, that's 3.5 hours, man. I felt like I just dozed off. Yeah.
That's impressive. That's really impressive. And what year was that you got those done?
now. I think it was end of 2018. I think.
Okay. Because I've done a I never forget when you had them. I mean, I never. I mean, I look at them with real envy, but nice envy, not. I'm talking real healthy envy, because God knows, I would do it in a heartbeat. I would, because it aesthetically looks fantastic. I don't care.
Thanks, bud, yeah.
I mean that. When people say bullshit like, "Oh, they're too white," fuck off. What, do you want yellow English teeth? Go on then, have your yellow English teeth.
Well, I think the thing was, even when I was out there, because I went out there, I mean, it wasn't like I was able to sunbathe when I was out in Turkey. It was late November. I got back on like December the 3rd or 4th. It was pissing down with rain. It was really bad weather out there. Matter of fact, worse than England, which I couldn't fucking believe. And it was basically just a bunch of English people at this hotel, and everyone was just having their teeth done.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
It turned out to be a great bunch of people.
You met a good group.
I stay away from English people when I don't want to be around English people. I find them fucking annoying.
No, right. You go abroad to get away from your own. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing was the whole. So you have this coding that they show you the colour, and of course, I remember
I see, like a colour key.
Yeah, And I remember watching a TV program that used to be on years ago called Extreme Makeover.
I remember that, yeah.
And they used to find like some bloke with
some right Fraggle.
Some dirty bastard who just lives in the same fucking gear all the time. Looks like he lives in an alleyway.
Yeah, proper hobo from Venice Beach. Yeah, and everything's fucked in his name.
Yeah. And he shaved his face, and then he looked like a fucking model. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
But, I always thought the biggest change on every single one of them was their teeth.
It was, 100%.
And even though I was never concerned about my teeth and all the rest of it, I should have wore a brace when I was a kid. Didn't want to.
Okay.
Because I was, you get worried about getting ripped and shit,
it was horrible. Yeah, I went through that.
Yeah. So, but it never bothered me. I wasn't one of these people that would laugh and put my hand in front of my mouth.
That consciousness, like when you're eating or laughing. Yeah, I still do to this day. I often do that. I'm like, like that, which is silly. Stays with you.
And then everyone that was there, everyone was going, "Oh, what are you going to have?" And everyone was trying to understate it, So they're like, "Oh, so basically, these are what's known as BL1. So they're the brightest."
Oh, really? That's the code, BL1. Okay.
BL1, yeah. And
interesting.
Then, or the Hollywood smile.
The Hollywood smile. Yeah, the Hollywood smile. But that's what we all want, and that's what I would have in a heartbeat, Doug. In a heartbeat. When the day comes,
I looked into it years and years ago, and it was so expensive, like in England.
25, 30k.
And, oh man, I mean, crazy money.
Yeah.
Like express veneers, if you want it done in the same time frame they've done this, it's like £1,200 a tooth.
Christ almighty. Well, this is it. So, I mean, realistically, what are you talking about, like you say, 21 teeth, 20 teeth getting done?
I had a lot done, because stupidly, me, wanting to take it to the extreme.
Yeah.
I said to them, "Can you do them all?"
Do them all, yeah.
And they said no, and they were really good actually, super professional as you can imagine.
Yeah.
And they turned around and said to me, "Try and keep your back teeth, because there's nothing wrong with them." I only ever had one filling.
Yeah.
Keep your back teeth.
I've got none.
Because there's nothing stronger than your natural back
teeth.
Of course. And obviously that's what you chew on. Yeah.
Yes, that's when you masticate and bite down. That's it is. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's so interesting.
So they said don't do that. So it was agreed that 21 was the most.
That was the optimum. So did you go for like literally 10 and 10, or what did you do?
Well, what it was, I had one filling where I had a root canal filling.
Okay.
And that's why it's an odd number. So that's why it's 11 at the top
and 10 there. Because it does look amazing, and I've also heard that it's very good for hygiene, isn't it? And because it's like literally a clean start, right?
Without sounding really kind of rancid.
Go on.
As you get older, sometimes you get a bit of receding gum.
Yes, yeah. My lower one's gone a little bit.
Even though that makes me sound like an old Alsatian.
Yeah.
as soon as I had it done, I noticed actually my gum down the bottom was a lot better. You know.
Really. I swear to God, I will get it done. You know, it's just a question of the cash. It's nothing deeper than that. I don't have any other issue with. I've just got to one day afford it. You know what I mean? And I will come to you because I've always done things. You know, like I remember years ago when I was 19. I got my nose broken a lot. Well, actually 3 times in one school year through rugby and fighting. It's leaving school at 16. But by 17, 18, I had rhinoplasty, which nowadays is called a nose job. And very much like Rogan's story, there are photographs of me on my skateboard at 17, 18, and it was very wide up here because it had been broken and it had healed like that. It had healed not like that, but it healed like that. So it was really fat and I couldn't breathe at night. If I lay on my back, I couldn't breathe. And ultimately the NHS did it for me. But I just remember, again, you know, whether it be, especially nowadays, whether it be, I don't know, getting a facelift done or teeth or hair or nose, I'd always want to talk to someone that I knew that had had it done rather than just doing a leap of faith. And like, you know, your teeth look fantastic. They continue to look fantastic. And I know that when it comes to my day to do that, I'll be like, Doug, could you give me the details of that place you went to? Because that's where I'll go.
That's one of the craziest things. One of the craziest things was when they contact you, and they were absolutely fantastic. And when I was having the back and forth on email, they asked you to send about 9 pictures.
Oh,
right?
Really?
Now, of course, I'm here on the flat by myself, right?
Right.
And what they want to see is they say, right, we want a picture of your teeth close together.
Right.
So obviously they want to see if you've got an under or an overbite.
Sure.
But showing your gums.
Yep.
Now, to actually fucking do that,
quite hard.
It's a major thing because obviously I'm here by myself,
and
I now and do that at the same time.
Wow.
So I was having to put the phone on a timer to take pictures.
Oh shit! Of course, yeah, of course.
But instead of thinking to myself, right?
Go on.
Because I was pulling these mad faces.
Like you're gurning, right? Like you're fucking gurning on a night out.
Instead of thinking, oh, maybe I should cut these pictures before I send them an email, when I look back, I look like a fucking psychopath.
Of course. Of chomping at the bit like you're about to kill someone.
When I looked at the email,
go on.
And I looked back, I thought, oh my God. You look like a fucking
lunatic. Like literally, oh my God, like the Yorkshire Ripper or something. Oh mate, that's funny. That's so funny.
Yeah.
But it's such an unusual request, Doug, isn't it? Because when they, you know, it's so far removed from posturing a normal smile. If someone says smile, you either do a mouth shut or a mouth open smile.
They want your head tilted back. And,
really? Really?
And they want to see your gums. So I was having to prise my mouth open.
Jesus Christ. That's like out of, I don't know, mate, that's some Buffalo Bill shit, isn't it? That's some Silence of the Lambs, you know.
It was okay.
Christ.
And the one thing I was worried about was, I don't know if you know the guy on TV, that Ryland. He's, you know, funny gay guy. I think he was on, I think he started off.
Yes, I remember him. Ryland, with the really white teeth, loads of personality, gay guy, yeah.
Yeah, but he's got teeth like a fucking horse.
Yes, he has. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the one thing I was paranoid, I didn't want to come back and everyone go, what's fucking done here?
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Like almost too much.
So when you sit in there and they do a thing where it's literally like design your smile. And it's very good. It's all technology. It's done on 3D.
So you get a really good impression.
By the images that they put on the screen.
Yeah.
And they said, oh, so how big do you want your teeth?
How big?
Instantly, I was like, what?
Don't make them bigger, just make them brighter. Yeah.
I said, I want the same size teeth as I got.
Exactly.
I just want them straight and white.
Yeah, that's the request. You don't want more size, you just want the colour.
I could eat an apple through a fucking
for a letterbox, exactly like the xenomorph alien.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Mate, that's so funny. I just... You know, I've never really discussed it with you properly. I didn't know that was the extent that they went to. I thought you just booked in, had a few emails and off you went. But by the sounds of it, they've done some real investigation beforehand into your, like you say, things like overbite. I mean, I had a 14mm overbite, and I had the Davros Dalek head brace and everything as a kid. I was bullied from here to eternity, mate. It was awful. Literally, all my memories of little Justin on his BMX, circa, I don't know, 1982. I was a 10-year-old, 12-year-old. That really, when you start getting spots when you're 11, 12, 13. Going to the orthodontist, having a fixed brace for 3 years, then progressing to the fucking headpiece. And every kid watching Doctor Who in those days was like, exterminate, exterminate. I look like Davros. I got my BMX bike to the skate park, and I would get fucking butchered by everyone. And I had to wear it through certain hours. So leaving school.
Kids of today would be able to handle that, mate.
Oh no, exactly. This is the thing. It's again. Could you imagine the sort of psychological damage nowadays? People on their phones. You're 13, 14, you're 15, precious, delicate age. You're wearing a headpiece. You would get hammered on social media for that. Easily lead to a I don't know, some sort
of... Well, I know you talked about it a few times. When I was there was a guy that had been, he'd just come from Istanbul, and he had just had the
hair
top of his dome done.
Right. Something else I'm interested in.
Because there was nothing to do there, at night time, and it was an all-inclusive place, but drink, and I'm not a hardcore drinker by any stretch of imagination.
Sure. Sure.
But this guy was having the full thing done. So he'd been in Istanbul.
Right.
He'd had the top of his dome done.
Right.
And then he was having obviously his teeth done.
He's done the works.
I mean, when he turned up, like at first, I realised something had gone on with the top of his head. No, I remember one night.
Was it bad?
A few drinks, and there was a bit of bandy going on.
Right.
And I said to him, I said, "Can't you wear a fucking hat, mate?"
I was going to say, yeah, can you just wear a hat? Yeah.
No, because you've got to let the follicles breathe or something.
This is the problem. That, yeah. Jesus.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I was being,
does it look
obviously a bit facetious, and I said, "Fucking hell, mate,
stay indoors.
You might as well shave your eyebrows off. You look like you're in a fucking fire." Do you know what I mean?
I mean, Doug. Nowadays that clinic on Instagram. That FUE, follicular unit extraction. It does seem to be the way to go. Whether you do 5 grand, 7 grand, 10 grand, whatever. But if those results are to be believed, it looks outstanding. But what is putting people off is just a head full of pus. Basically, the
thing is, we got a good friend. I won't say his name just in case. I know he's not bothered, but I won't say his name. But we got a good friend who's just had it done.
Oh, really?
Up in town.
Right.
He had the back of his dome done. He was bald in there.
Right.
And in fairness, I haven't seen any of that on him. Yeah, you could see it was a little bit red, a little bit aggravated.
Yeah.
But he didn't look like old mate boy I saw in Turkey. But again, I think in Turkey, even though it isn't that expensive anymore, but I think in Turkey he had the whole top of his dome done for something like 1,500 quid.
That's cheap. That's so cheap. I suppose as the technology improves, the price must come down. Do you think?
Well, and also because so many people are going to Turkey.
Yeah.
You think there's whole clinics now,
devoted to
where
this.
you can go and have your teeth done, if you're a virgin, you want to have a boob job, or your arse done, or whatever. Not your arse, done like that, but
no.
voluptuous arse.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, not filled in, but just filled up. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But and even when you think of what my teeth would have cost me over here, I would have been into sort of 20+ grand.
Well, this is it, Doug. I mean, he's dead now, but Rob Gregory from Essex, who I built that Euro Fitness gym for back in 2009. He ran Euro Fitness that used to sell multi-power with Pete Davis. Anyway, long story short, he and his wife she did 26 grand and he did 30 grand. So basically 56 to 60k was spent by him on him and his wife in Essex, sort of the Billericay, Basildon area, just on getting it done, privately, full porcelain. And of course, that was 2009. So we're talking just over a decade ago. That's the sort of money you're looking at, 25 to 30k per head to get what you've got there. And you can do all of that shit on credit as well. Really? Yeah, Jesus. Yeah, they set out all sort of programs and Jesus. It's like going to buy a car, isn't it?
That way.
Yeah, that's the way I go. Because you think about it. you know, look at the nice cars we've had. You know, certainly in my past, when I've committed to, you know, a 35, 45 grand car, well, do 20k on your mouth, do 10k on your mouth, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, but going back to the guy you said that got the head and the teeth done all in one hit, you can see the industry in Turkey, how, you know, basically bald, yellow teeth, ugly Englishmen arrive in Turkey, and in a fortnight they leave looking like, I don't know, fucking
like Fabio.
Yeah, Fabio or Michael Knight circa 85 or,
Yeah,
or you know,
yeah,
or you know, Baywatch. Because ultimately, what ages us blokes? You know, we get into our late 30s, 40s, depending on, you know, our genetics, DHEA, you know, and the testosterone we produce or don't produce. It's unavoidable. You know, it's a very lucky man who gets to 50 years of age with a full-on Richard Gere hairdo. You know, Bjorn Borg, Richard Gere, these people, silver foxes that have got, you know, just luscious, thick hair, and they go white, and they're bastards. I hate them. I tell you what, I looked at pictures of Bjorn Borg, you know, and I just thought, holy shit, you know.
Bjorn Borg, man.
Do you know what I mean? 70 years of age, or looking amazing.
I mean, you can imagine he's most probably beaten them off with his shitty stick.
Oh,
you know
still got more flange.
His old boy out, even as a friend, you think,
I tell you, mate. I tell you. It's like, how much? Would you? Yeah. Because there's certain men that are just undeniably. I literally Googled him recently, and I thought, you've still got it, pal. You've still got it. You know, and he's.
Well, my brother's got a fantastic head of hair.
Has he?
I mean, he's the white fox, a bit like our Alex here. I see pop up down here.
Yeah, a Lions E first. That's Alex. Yeah, he's got great hair, Alex, isn't he?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You need to be putting the kettle on, mate, or something.
I have lots of hair, yeah. But Alex, actually, I do remember Alex, because he's got, obviously, you know, that lovely, thick black hair, isn't he?
Yeah,
you lucky bastard, Alex.
My brother's got a hairline like a fucking chimpanzee.
Like...
my brother's hairline's fucking here. Like, he's got about that much forehead.
So annoying. So annoying.
I mean, I am jealous, but no. I mean, look, to be honest with you, I was always destined, as I always say, the Phil Collins or I like to refer it when it grows through like the bat tennis ball.
Yeah, yes. Oh, it's the same. It's the same with mine. You know, I got the same. I mean,
the thing was, I never had good hair when I had it.
Right.
I never had good hair.
I mean, you've always said that to me. You've always said that. I'm just waving to these lovely people that are popping on.
Yeah,
this is you. This is you, mate. I'm so glad. You know, I'm. Look, better late than never. That's all I can say. Just quick little apology here, because I've been live streaming. Well, recently the 365th episode, which represented my exact year. Obviously, it's longer than a year if you include the weekends too. But to see you on here and Lee on here, I'm thinking, holy shit, is that all it took? Was my pals to go, yeah? And I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm now thinking, get Tom, get Chris, get Dorian, get him on. Because it makes it, like, I'm not being funny. Yes, I can talk for England. I talk the hind legs off a donkey. You know, it's like, you know what's going to be on my gravestone. Justin House, here lies Justin House. You know, why use 10 words when 100 will suffice? Because I'm so fucking verbose. But what was I going to do? Do 1,000 episodes of a live streaming guy just talking to the ether? You know, to actually have conversation. This is what's going to help people, because people can go, oh, I saw Dougie and Justin having a chat. And just, it makes it a lot more inclusive. And that's all I ever wanted, was to chat to people online that want to talk. That's it.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, and the connections that you have, but, you know, we've had this conversation many times. I mean, I'm sure you'd have the people you'd have hundreds of people watching within.
Absolutely.
You know, all of your, you know, your people that you know through the sport.
Yes.
And even beyond the sport, really, your friendships that you have with these people.
Absolutely, because
people want to listen to that, you know.
Well, that's the thing. You know, you can find dozens of podcasts out there with Dorian being interviewed about, talk to us for the millionth time about your underhand row, Dorian. Let's not talk about that. Let's talk about aliens. Let's talk about everything but bodybuilding. Because I think, do you know what I mean, Doug? Because, you know, who amongst us that has set foot in the gym hasn't heard how Dorian trains his back. You know, with the greatest respect.
No one wants to hear it. It's fucking boring.
Isn't it? It's boring for him.
Right, even back in the day when we had the old VHS tapes of
yeah,
training.
blood and guts.
The truth is, even though we'd have our pants pulled down for about 25 subs for one,
yeah,
the truth is, after you watched it once, the second time you're watching it, you're fucking getting your nut down while watching
exactly,
it.
Mate. It puts you into a coma. And I think the thing with too many conversations about training, by the way, I'm always willing to talk about training because, as I've said to you in private, as much as I pretend that, like, oh, I'm not a bodybuilder, well, I'm not a bodybuilder because I no longer have that physique. But what I've noticed in recent months, especially the last year of lockdown, do you know what hasn't left my head at all? It's what I knew. What I knew. It's like, you know, I'm not walking around like, oh, Justin, look at his great physique. No, because that's not there. I mean, but it hasn't left my head, Doug. It hasn't left my head.
No, of course, and nor
you know,
will it ever.
No.
You know it won't. I mean,
it can't.
But the thing is, you know, like you're saying, if you've got someone like, you know, someone like Dorian, Tom Prince, you know, these sort of people on there, if you get them to even go Chris Cormier, come on for even like an hour, I mean, you know, you'd be in the hundreds.
Absolutely.
And the thing is let's get it right. You know, I mean, obviously I'm a huge Jay Cutler fan, you know, and Jay was very smart because then, you know, he was also one of the first guys to use social media.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
And he did the sort of thing that the Osbournes did, you know, which led the way for the likes of the Kardashians.
Yeah.
He based people were more interested in watching him go to the fucking supermarket.
That's right. That's right.
And take his dog for a walk.
That's right.
Were watching him do another set of fucking bench press.
It's true. It's true. You know, I mean, look. I know. Again, I know he's gone now, but look at Rich Piana. You know, I looked at him the other day. Who's that big guy? Martin Ford, you know?
Yeah.
And I just thought, this is the thing. And it took me back, Doug. It took me back to, so I mustn't neglect the audio. It took me back to the WWF when you had Vince McMahon try Gary Stridham and Tony Pearson and Lou Ferrigno and you know, Danny Padilla. They all defected across. But it was very performative. It was very... it couldn't have been more different from the IFBB. You know, it was very much, look, Gary, you're, you know, Mike Christian, you're now a character. And I don't, I mean, what are your thoughts now on bodybuilding moving forward and how can it? Will it always be, is it too diluted?
I mean, there's pluses and there's minuses to everything, you know what I mean?
What are you seeing?
I'm not a big social media fan when it comes to some of what goes on because I think people can. You've got an open platform to falsely advertise yourself.
True.
And you know, you turn around and you say, "Oh, I'm this," and all the rest of it. Then people take that for gospel. And I talk about this quite a lot, you know, and I see it a lot in the gyms, and I see obviously with the surgeons of female competitors and bikini girls.
Yes.
I talk about this all the time. I'm not the only one, you know, Jordan Peters, who, you know, who,
James.
You know, I had a bit of back and forth with him a while ago on social media because the thing is you got to do things for the right reason, and the problem is there's so many charlatans out there.
There are snake oil salesmen.
Experience. I mean, you can go, and this is no disrespect to anyone, but you can go and do an online course to be a trainer and be trained where you ain't even in a course where you can't fail.
Really,
Doug? It's impossible to fail.
Really?
And the problem is I've got no problem with anyone doing what they want to do.
Sure.
But then don't start telling people about nutrition, because you ain't qualified.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
And you know, and the issue is what you get is a lot of nowadays, because a lot of these so-called, they're not even federations.
No.
I'll say it.
No, they're not.
Miami Pro.
Yeah.
Sorry, they're all a bag of shit, mate. They're all about. They don't give a about you.
No. Entry fee, please.
They want you to sign up. They want you to sign up.
Yeah.
And what they're going to do is they're going to tell you that you need your makeup, your tan,
tan,
everything
classes, gear.
And the truth is, if you don't, you ain't gonna figure.
Everyone's a coach, and this is your bikini, and here's your 7 colours and different cuts and different outfits, and your music and your routine, your choreography, money, 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 money.
Yeah, and the truth is, it's bullshit. And then on top of that, look, and everyone as an adult, you go into things knowing, you know, kind of what you're getting into. But, you know, and you know, Jordan Peters, as I said about this, and he said a little piece about this.
Go on.
It was so spot on. And what I'm seeing, I mean, I had someone contact me through my ex-wife that was doing a show.
Oh, wow.
And her diet, I mean, I just had to say to her, look, I need to be honest with you. So here we go, Just.
Go on, tell me.
So this is a girl that was very thin, no muscle on her really.
Right.
You know, I've done this before where I've told people and turned around and said, look, you need at least 18 months of lifting, even to be a bikini girl.
Yeah, if not 2 or 3 years.
Because these girls think it's about who's to be the skinniest on stage. And the truth is, they're all walking eating disorders.
Right, yeah, because I was going to say, that they've not,
if they don't get prepped by the right person, and this is no advert, because God knows I don't want anyone to do. I can't be dealing with it.
No, I hear you.
Right?
I hear you.
I help who I help. I help who I help. I have my set people, and I know they're committed to the cause.
Yep.
And I help who I help. Very rarely will I bring in any other new people. Right. And the thing is,
go on.
Is it's really out of order, because what's going on here?
Tell me.
Is they'll have some 2-bit coach.
Yep.
Some coach that 9 times out of 10 wants to get in their knickers.
Yep. There's an ulterior motive there. Yeah. That's unhealthy for a start.
The poor girl is, and again, I'm not. I don't want this to sound like a male chauvinist.
No. You must. No, Doug. This is why this live stream is called TrueHouse, because you don't need to even have a hint of an apology here or justification, because you're telling the truth. You're telling the truth. So let's hear it.
Well, I mean, the thing is you know, when I have anyone come to me, even if they want me to look at them and give them a guidance, I always ask them the same thing, and it's sort of like a verbal screening.
Yes.
I say, why are you doing it?
Yes. Yeah.
Just out of interest.
Yeah, you're actually doing a making sure they're mentally okay, their mental acuity for the job at hand.
And what they do is they get conned into it by people that are associated by the federation, because that federation in hand gives them clients.
Right.
And I've got a girl that I helped that done considerably, very, very well internationally, and she got into that as well. Fair play to her. She saw through it and disassociated herself to a very well-known show that goes around, low-level show, where of course you become a pro, but everyone knows you're not a pro.
Yeah, so, guaranteed pro card. Yeah.
Well, there's only one. We all know there's only one.
Exactly, Doug. Exactly.
In the world.
Yeah.
That's the IFB.
Yeah, just the one. Just the one.
Yeah. Just in case.
Since the early '60s, mate. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just in case anyone needs to know. Yeah, the International Federation of Body. Yeah, exactly. It's true.
Yeah, you're not a pro.
It's true, isn't it? It's true. I've always said that. You've always said that. Yeah.
But and basically what's happening is you're getting these people, and as I said, I asked this particular person to send me their diet. Now check this out. Now,
go on.
They themselves are a trainer, an online trainer, and I'm not saying everyone's bad, so don't I get on my arse about that.
Okay.
Right? Because it also comes down to experience, but some people have got great experience.
Yeah.
But however, so she said she's carb cycling. Now check this out, Justice is gospel.
Go on.
Her low day was 35 grams of carbohydrates.
Are you serious?
So I sent her a message and I said,
that's
basically, right? I said, here we go.
That's her low day, 35 grams.
Yeah, right. I said, for brain function alone, you need 60 grams.
I was going to say, Doug, you're immediately, I'm just sitting there trying to not overreact, but yeah, that's alarming.
Right.
That's dangerous. It's just dangerous.
Yeah.
It's flat out and out dangerous.
Yeah. And you're doing an hour of weight training and 2 hours of cardio a day.
Wow.
And then she wonders why she's emotional.
Yeah, I was going to say, I would be crying on that. Yeah, because brain function alone. Yeah, you can't. You can't.
Lucky she ain't stoved her fucking car in.
I was going to say, Doug. Yeah, because you're always into hypoglycemia there all the time.
Yeah, that's right.
All the time. You're not even meeting daily requirements there for just sustaining.
And then a high day.
Go on.
I don't know why I'm smiling, but it was funny.
Well, you're smiling because it's shocking. You know.
Yeah, a high day was 55 clubs.
Oh, steady. I call that a low day, but there you go. I call that an extremely low day. So basically, she's in hypoglycemia. She's in ketosis all the time. She's in a cannibalized state. You're not going to even repair the most mild form of walking around the block. Do you know what I mean? Because
the thing is without dragging this story out to her, because it'd be fucking boring. But the thing is I just said to her, look, if I'm doing a low carbohydrate with anyone for a period of time, look, the lowest I would ever go would be that brain function carbohydrate.
6 does best say 60 for me. 60, 65 grams. Yeah.
But then after 3 days, on the 4th day, I'm going to give you every bit of those carbs. Say, I don't know, whatever. Let's say, for argument's sake, before you was on 200. Then on day 4, I'm going to give you 400 carbs. I'm going to spike your metabolism.
Yes, mate. Because that's what carb cycling is.
These people don't have no knowledge.
No.
When they don't go, oh, I'm not shifting no weight. But have you had a look at them? Have you had a look at their composition? Maybe their body's changed.
Right.
Even though the weight hasn't. Maybe they're tighter than they were. You don't need to make no change.
Yeah. It's mind-blowing, Doug.
9 times out of 10, when you don't lose any weight, the best thing to do is up your calories.
Yes.
Not reduce them.
Correct. Do you know?
Anyway.
Go on, tell me.
So, and anyway, and lo and behold, of course, look, I wasn't helping her. God knows I didn't want to help her. She was just asking me advice.
Dangerous, Doug. Dangerous.
But however, I said to her, right, I'm going to be straight with you as a friend. This person is helping you is not qualified.
Yep.
They do not know anything about nutrition.
No.
What they're doing to you is dangerous.
It is dangerous.
You
Very
are going
dangerous.
to end up having an eating disorder
Yes.
if you haven't got one already.
Yes. And the hormonal imbalance, the psychological damage, and what about her menstruation cycle, etc., etc.
Oh, man, well,
her endocrine system. Exactly, Doug. Get on my soapbox.
That's hard enough even for women when they do it properly.
Yep.
Because of the low body fat.
Yep. Just at the estrogenic
Alex,
level, yeah.
Did you listen? Alex, strangely enough, that was about 4 weeks ago, and she hasn't asked me for my advice against it.
Really? Do you know that's the funny thing, and you've got to laugh. You've got to laugh, Doug, because that's the absurdity. These people come for advice, and when you give them truth, they go anyway. Fortunately, you've had enough people, and you have enough people that realise that your reputation speaks for itself, and you are coming from a good place, and you're as I said to you just dozens of times, your knowledge is acquired knowledge from decades of doing it in the field. You can't put a value on that. You can't say, well, why does Doug know a better system? Because you've done it again and again and again. And there's no textbook, there's no course, there's no online process that will get you there. And that's, I feel very strongly.
To be honest with you, thanks for saying that.
I mean it.
To be honest with you, Justin, the thing is I started in a different era, do you know what I mean?
Likewise, yeah.
So the thing was, I'd already done, by the time I think I reached 12 shows, I never had, back then didn't have coaches.
No.
Spoke to people in the gym.
Exactly, Doug.
And I had influential people around me. Lucky enough, I was asking the right people.
Yes.
People nowadays wouldn't maybe so much know these names, but people like Martin Alamango and obviously my good friend Dave Lamptey.
Yes.
These
Harold.
people were top amateurs. Well, Martin was a professional. Were top amateurs, and I was lucky enough for me. I was asking the right people.
Yep.
And when I did my shows, I said, but it wasn't until I never had a prep coach until I just placed 5th in the British in 2005. And then after then, I started working with Harold.
Yeah. Great guy.
I had already done 12 shows by that stage.
Really?
I never had any coach.
No,
I did it once, and it was trial and error.
Yes, of course it was. Of course it was. And, you know, I remember having this conversation with the Fort Galaxy crew. You know, at the time it was Dean McTurnan and Dennis Oakes and everyone else there. I just, you know, the funny thing is, I mean, you and I very much moved in the same circles because of the era that we were in, and, you know, from 1990 onwards. And I just, again, look, here's the thing. I never forget, there's certain things stuck in my memory, and this is going to sound like a terrible name drop, but I'd never had an actual conversation with Dorian until August 2004. And even though, because of my involvement with Kerry through Dave, you know, and it was Mikey Sheridan and Graham Black, obviously both 2 losses there, and Paul Borison, 3 losses. The list goes on, but I knew them, and it was the chemical school, right? And I remember when I finally spoke to Dorian, he came to open my gym, and Kerry had sent Dorian down as a personal favour. There was no charge. I was opening my gym. This was August 2004 in Chelmsford, and the first chat we ever had was this conversation we're having now. And Dorian sat in my pro shop, and I was selling all DYA chemical stuff, you know, Dorian Yates approved. And he said to me, "What's a coach?" What? And this was 04, mate. So this is 17 years ago, you know. And that was our first, you know, once we realised that we knew the same people, because he mentioned Cormier's name, and I was like, let me tell you about my Venice exploits. And off the conversation went, you can imagine, you know. And we were having a barbecue because it was the grand opening of my gym. You know, my gym that lasted for a whole 2.5 years. And but that's another story. I just remember him saying to me, "Why is everyone having a coach?" And that's all he kept saying was, you know, we never had a coach. I never had a coach. He never had a coach. You just did it, and you cocked it up, and then you got better. And you cocked it up, and then you got better. And then, like you say, it was trial and error. It was doing it, repetition, repetition, repetition. You know, whether it be your first bench press, you know, your first squat, or your first prep. And it was process of elimination, and doing it and doing it. And even, do you know what? He said even doing it and getting it wrong got you better. Because you know, and I know, even if you're a bad dieter and a bad prepper, just by getting it almost right, but again and again and again, you're going to chip away. You're going to have a better looking body because you've done it again and again and again.
I mean, Dorian Yates, I mean, look, everyone knows it, but Dorian Yates' condition, right? So, you know, he's most probably one of the greatest conditioned bodybuilders of all time.
Yeah, he is. And do you know what? I'll never forget, we had a really, our second chat, because he sort of gave it away. He did a seminar when he was at my gym, and people kept saying, "What was your secret? What was your off season versus?" And no one really understood the simplicity of what he was saying. And he said, "Let me give you all the greatest secret I've ever had. Off season and on season, there was no off and on season." He said, "I'm eating rice, or I'm eating chicken or beef or whatever, or vegetables or potatoes, off season and on season. But what's the greatest difference? On season, I reduce. Off season, I'm eating more of it." So I said, "What? You mean?" He goes, "No, you can't change rice. You can't change potatoes. You're just doing more of it, calorifically, more of it. Calorically.
Trying to reinvent the wheel."
Yeah, exactly. He said, "Hang on, I'm actually doing more carbs by not changing the carbs, just having more porridge and more potatoes and more rice." It was so, and I just remember laughing and looking at my members who didn't get it, because they thought there was some sort of trickery, and it's not at all.
Well, I mean, it's no more different, you know, when you know, I've helped people and stuff in shows, and the truth is, you know, when I'm looking at people, I'm not just looking at people as that third eye, because as you know, when you're to be in shape, you've got to obsess. We know that we have to do that. That's how you get into the best shape. But then also the other side of that is that I'm also looking to see any subtle changes I'm making, what effect that has on their body. So the truth is, the first time, if you get it right first time with someone, you know, and a lot of people might not want to, you know, say this, the truth is, a lot of time that's purely by chance.
It is, Doug. It is.
Right. I mean, we know, the tricks of drying people out and all the rest of it and how that works. But the truth is sometimes drying out, as much as people may think, well, I'm giving away the secrets here, but as much as people may think, it's don't cut water. Some people do cut water, some people don't.
Yep.
The truth is sometimes what you simply need to do is reduce that person's protein intake because especially for a lot of guys, they're eating so much protein because the kidneys are having to work even harder to process that. What's happening is they're creating an irritation to their kidneys.
Of course,
they're holding a little level of subcutaneous water because their body's under stress.
It's an inflammatory response. Exactly, and I was the master at doing that. I did too much of it, and I remember just. Only when I was out of it did I realise that at no point did my physique ever warrant having the sheer, and I know DT, bless his soul, did the same thing, that us bigger guys were like, it's okay to have, 880 carbs and 680 protein. No, it's not. You don't ever need 680 grams of protein in a given day. I don't care who you are, because Dorian's greatest protein intake was about 440, and there's me going, I'm on 680. What were you doing, Justin? Where was it going? Oh, you had kidney failure. Oh, okay. So it just, you were on dialysis for 4 years and you had a transplant. Oh, okay. Right. And it's just, it's like, and I have these conversations now with Tom Prince, and you have the same one with Flex Wheeler, because genetically predisposed to have certain deficiencies in renal function, I get all that. But if you're loading with protein, supplements and gear and painkillers, and you do that for too long and you take the piss, and I did, you will have renal failure. And how often have we seen that in bodybuilding? And I just wish... I am now that living cautionary tale, and I don't mean to sort of beat my drum about it or beat anyone around the head with it, but there's one thing I want to give now, if I can, to anyone, is like, please believe me when I say you can overdo it. You can overdo it, because I was the master at overdoing it,
Well, when you look at guys in the 80s, okay, they wasn't the size they are now. And all the rest of it. When you look at the guys in the 80s, I remember reading an article actually with Charles Glass in an old Flex magazine.
Yeah.
And obviously, because we had magazines back then.
Yes, we did. Actual magazines. Yes, actual magazines. We had to wait for, Doug. We had to wait for them and all the things. Yeah, mail order.
Like a little crackhead.
Yeah.
But the thing was I remember Charles Glass saying that he had some of the best results that he ever had was on 1.2 grams of protein per pound of body weight. Interesting. And when you look at their conditioning, the truth is even if they kept that exactly the same, when we're talking, why don't we see the cross striations?
Right.
Why don't we see the sinewy muscle we saw in them days? I think sometimes it's always very easy to look at like the drug element of the sport, but actually it's
food.
It's nutritional no-nos.
I agree. Emphatically, I agree. Because it causes, any overspilling causes an inflammatory response, and that will manifest itself. And even the language does me, and people talk about overspilling. I'm like, hang on a minute, fat isn't water and water isn't fat, and don't confuse intra-organ, intramuscular, subcutaneous, as adipose tissue, and this is a film of water you've got. I get that, but if you're overdoing anything in terms of your caloric intake or calorific intake, it's going to show. And as you say, 1.2 isn't even near the recommended 1.5 that we're now seeing. You know what I mean? And the modern trend, 1.5 to 2.5, the ratio's too high, Doug. Whatever happened to 1.0 to 1.5? But now they're not even, the conversation doesn't start till 1.5 and above.
Oh man, all day long, two upwards.
Isn't it? That's the kick-off point. A round table discussion at Metro. Conversation starts at minimum 1.5, but 2 and above, as you say.
What was it? Above,
yeah,
all day long. I can tell you now, it's two and above. And the thing is that again, a lot of the time when it comes to that sort of final week and that science, people think that it's sort of everyone's got some crazy drug combination or what diuretic or
Yeah.
all the rest of it. The
Yeah.
truth is, it's actually none. It's none of that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that, of course, people won't use that. You know, whether they're using diazide or
Sure.
something else.
Fruisamide or whatever. Yeah. Aldactone. Yeah.
But the truth is how someone looks, if the show is on a Sunday, how someone looks on a Friday, if they look spot on in the gym, you'd be good actually just to leave it alone.
Exactly.
We've seen that many a times. People look great in the gym on the Friday.
Yes.
Like, yeah, great. And then when you see their pictures back, you're like,
yes.
What happened?
I've been with you in Metro, and I will say this right now, and I've heard you say, do nothing. Yeah. You've had an athlete come on a Friday evening, 5 p.m, looking lovely, and you're about to go home on a Friday, and you've said to them, and they're like, Dougie, what shall I do? And you're like, nothing. Just hold the line.
When you're in that
and they fuck
shape,
it up.
When you're in that great shape and you're posing and you're separating.
Yeah, you're there.
And especially if you're in really good shape.
Yeah.
You know, and you've got cross striations
yeah.
and the rest of it. Why would you even tempt all of a sudden to do something you've never done?
Exactly, yeah. Like a heavy session, for example, on a Saturday morning. Why would you inflame the muscle with water by doing a heavy deadlift or something? You could
a friend of mine
train legs. Why?
About putting in 1,000 carbs.
Oh, yeah, right.
You know, I would sooner look at it like this. You're better off. You're better off to stay as you are.
Yep.
And even let's say you are even a couple of percent where I would sooner you be a couple of percent more separated.
Yep.
Than a couple of percent more fuller.
Correct. Just to warn you, I've got 12 seconds left, and it will blank out, and I'll go again. Right? It's giving me that 8-second warning now. So don't go anywhere.
We're being thrown out.
No. It's just the thing. 1 second. Hang on. Right. Let me post this. And we're back live. Okay, so I'm going to just wait for Doug to get himself in again. Okay, so for some reason, this is something that used to happen back in the day when I started streaming on Instagram. It used to give me like an hour, and that's what it's doing again. Here he is. Let's get Doug back on camera. Come on, Doug, come back on camera. Here we go. Let's get him back. Here comes. I've actually titled this episode 368 with my friend Doug Kelly. So he'll be back any moment now. There he is. Here he comes. There you go. Sorry, Doug. It's. I was just literally saying.
I remember when it used to.
Yeah, it gives me an hour, and again, it's beyond my control. Early days of streaming, it used to do this. It would give me an hour and then just, basically kick me out, and then I'm back on again. So here we are. But no, please continue what you were saying, Doug.
Yeah, I mean, what was the saying? We were talking about drying out.
Yeah, about drying out and about not doing anything.
I would sooner someone be at 5% drier than 5% fuller.
Right.
Because when you're on stage, as you know,
yes,
lines and separation. You'll look 10 pounds bigger.
Exactly. Yes. And also, you and I both know. And hey, look, I competed a total of 4 times. You've done probably 40 times. The one thing I do recall about competing, in terms of effecting immediate change, if you arrive at the venue and someone says to you, "Hey, Josh, you're looking a bit flat," you can do something about that. I mean, in terms of being drastic, I know you can't do a Thanos finger click and change conditioning, but if you're actually not ready, or you did something that, again, this is just from my own personal experience, I remember being able through food. Hey, here's an example. Gary Lister. Gary Lister, there you go. Good conditioned athlete. I saw him at 95 nabber, 95 nabber. Traps for days, my style delts, right? And he went off and beat Dean McTurnan by eating cod and chips because he was so ready. And the feedback from Sheridan, from Graham Black was, hey, Gary, you need to be fuller for the evening show. You need to be fuller, right? And he went off and ate cod and chips, and bang, you can get that because he was ready. But if someone's not ready, if the work hasn't been done or they've overshot, what you going to do on the day? Miraculously dry out and lose 10 pounds? You can't do it. It's gone.
Well, when you're in great condition, the truth is in those small amount of hours, especially if you've already done the pre-judging.
Yes.
By the time you go out and eat, you can go out and eat a few burgers.
Eat for England, yeah. And we've seen that at the Olympia, haven't we?
Yeah, you're just gonna look even drier and all that, especially after you've been under the lights.
Yes. Exactly. I mean, Jay himself has done. I mean, I'm gonna. Well, what was his best year? 09, do you feel? 2009.
I mean, obviously some people say, but I think 09.
09, yeah. And this conversation happened the other day with our very Dorian. You know, I still say 1993 in Georgia, Atlanta was the greatest Yates of all time. And some people say, oh, it's the 96 German Grand Prix or it's 94. I'm sorry, if you look at Dorian 93 in Atlanta, Georgia, it's game over. It's just game over. You know, he did put on 15 pounds that year. I remember being a show called the Wessex down south here, sort of Devon way, Bristol, Devon way. And I was with Brian Batcheldor, you know, and the guys from the sort of Bournemouth area. And that edition of Flex magazine, the one magazine, was being passed around the audience, and it had that iconic "What a Difference a Year Makes." The photo is by Kevin Horton, and it's a Peter McGough article. May God rest Peter McGough. But Kevin Horton took those shots, and of course they were colour shots that they then, you know, transposed to black and white. And we saw Dorian 92 after Helsinki versus Dorian 93 in Atlanta. Before the show, probably about 270 in truth, and we all just threw up. I mean, we literally said we're going to stop bodybuilding. You know what? And I remember Dave Talbot saying that to you about Jay Cutler. I think I wasn't there; I was sick. But I think you and Andy and Dave had gone to the NEC for Body Power. And we
went to Body Power,
Right, and I think DT had said. I'm paraphrasing here, Doug, but I think DT had said something to you, and again, I wasn't there. Said something to you like, after seeing Jay, what are we doing? What are we doing? Let's just give up, you know.
It's like you're doing a different sport.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what are we even doing? You know? What are we even trying?
I mean, Jay was 290 pounds. Oh. Bearing in mind he's about an inch and a half taller than me.
Christ, 290.
I
mean,
fucking
23 stone.
Similar to yourself.
21 stone.
Wide clavicle.
Yeah.
Crazy delts on top.
Yeah.
Wide as anything.
Yeah.
And it just made you feel like you never lifted a weight in your life.
I mean, that was my one thing. I mean, I remembered, bless him. Again, it's too long a story, but it was the year 07 where I'd been knocked out on the door, that I've still got the scar from, and I almost lost this right leg. And Dorian did me for the Criminal Injuries Compensation Authority, the CICA. Dorian did me a lovely letter. It was an impact letter. It was basically, I ended up getting about $4,000 just compensation money from a work sustained injury, because I'd been obviously, frankly, knocked out on my feet. I've never lied about that. And Dorian wrote me a letter about what would have happened to me had I carried on, because I was prepping at the time to do a guest spot at the London Classic for Scott Horton. Yeah, good idea, just. And I was about 300 pounds, and I would have walked on stage about 288 realistically. And Dorian had said in it, you know, that for a 6'5" guy, I had phenomenal width and an unusual pair of legs. In other words, 6'5" guys didn't have legs like mine or didn't have delts like mine. And we know my shortcomings as a bodybuilder were always going to be thickness. I was very, very wide, but I was never the thickest guy. And I remember having that conversation with your Harold as well. Harold would come to see Graham Black, and I was working for Graham Black, and it's like, how wide is Justin? But he's never going to be that thick, and it's true. I was never going to be that thick.
Yeah, Harold was very similar, obviously.
Yes, we shared that similarity, thigh sweep and delts. Yeah. The only thing I had on Harold was a smaller waist. That's the one area that I had Harold on, was a smaller waist. He was my inspiration, Doug, to the 03 Grand Prix, because I watched him.
That's a lovely geezer. It's an absolute top geezer.
I love Harold. I love Harold Marilla. I haven't got a single bad memory of that man. He was a kind, gentle giant, super polite, super kind, super generous, and I didn't know him as you knew him. And I just remember him coming to Graham Black's gym. It was like Stevie Winters and Graham Black and me and Sheridan, and we were all there hanging out. And I just remember him saying, Justin could do some real damage, but just needs to get more deadlifts under him. And that was 2002. And then Harold turned pro that November at the Grand Prix. And that's when Kerry, Hodgson, everyone else started applying a bit of pressure on me, saying, if Harold's got a pro card, then Justin's next in 03. And of course, it didn't go my way, and I was massively, I just think I needed another year. And that was, then my downward spiral commenced. But yeah, I've always looked at Harold, and I know you have a great relationship with Harold. I thought, what a lovely, he's certainly in my mind as one of the great British bodybuilders like yourself that's had longevity and just always been good with training advice, with dietary advice, with contest prep, and you yourself know that more than me.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like, a lot of the time, even with people that I've helped for shows and that, I've got this kind of thing that if I'm helping you and I'm training you, even if I'm training you once a week, you get ready for a show, I don't need, again, and I understand that a lot of people make their business from it, and I'm not knocking anyone because it's my choice.
Yeah.
I'll do diets for people that I'll charge them diets, but if I'm helping someone and you're training for me, everything doesn't have to be about money. And the reason that is for me is because I had people that helped me that never asked me for a penny.
Right, yeah.
And the likes of Harold, I used to drive to Crawley, to the Forest Gym and go
Forest
see
Gym,
Harold.
yeah.
And he meant everything to me.
Your Saturday mornings, wasn't it? Was it Saturday mornings you used to go? Yeah.
And the thing was it was in this shitty changing room.
Yeah.
The light was fucking so bad in there. I
Really?
remember the very first time he took me in there, I thought, I'm fucking standing in the dark,
Right.
I said to him, look, I don't mind going out onto your gym floor. You know what I mean? I don't care. And he was like, nah, if you look good on this light, you'll look good on the light.
That's a good point. That's the most unflattering light. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a tiny little fucking stained up mirror that even made Metroplex mirror look good.
If that's possible, the bacteria, yeah.
And it was fucking dark.
Wow.
And I used to go through my ball returns
Yep.
and my poses, and lots of time I'd have drove all that way begging for him to give me something positive.
Yeah.
Didn't say shit. Didn't say
Did
nothing.
he not? No feedback, nothing. That's interesting.
And then you just say, right, this is what we're doing.
That's very interesting.
And the thing was those, when he said to drop me a text, let me know, all I had to do was send him my weight each week. When nowadays, you're like someone's social worker when you send something out.
They want this, right? They want this, yeah. Well, this is the amazing
and the
thing.
truth is, if I bombarded Harold's phone like that, I think it would have ended our friendship.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, this is something that I remember Palumbo speaking about this. I can't think when it was. It might have been 2019. But just, again, I know recently Dorian's been posting, sort of little video clips of him talking to a client. And I sort of giggle to myself because I think, Dorian's about stoicism and being stoical and basically toughening the fuck up, And the whole, you think back to your mindset, my mindset, just what we were ingrained with, what we were indoctrinated with. It was about, as you say, the likes of Harold not giving you feedback, not holding your hands, not elevating your ego by saying, oh, Doug, you're looking good. And of course, nowadays, there seems to be more, and I don't want to sound like I'm attacking the sport or denigrating the sport, because I'm not, but there seems to be more fragility in this general kind of feedback between the competitor and the coach.
Social media, right? I mean, people will, whether they're getting ready for a show or whatever, and I said each to their own. I'm not knocking anyone, even though it's not wouldn't be my preference. But for me, unless I was stripping down for Harold, or I was doing posing practice, or even if I was maybe 3-4 weeks out, I didn't even want to show anyone my body until it was the done deal. Right,
you covered up, didn't you? You covered up.
Yeah,
dude. What was the required uniform? I was the same thing.
Oversized jumper.
Yes. I used to walk into Fort Galaxy, and McTurnan and Parry would make me do my quarter turns. With Fort Galaxy in Ilford, you would walk into, it was like the table of elders from, I don't know, Middle Earth, Lord of the Rings, or Highlander. It's like there can be only one. And I'd have to basically stand there in my thong. I was always wearing a thong, and like if Justin's glutes are coming through and we're a month out, we're good to go. And I'd have a sunbed and dry out and do my quarter turns, perhaps in front of 25, 30 people, of which I knew 3 well. And that was more nerve-wracking than walking on stage. And that was my baptism of fire. And of course, it was always black, oversized. I was wearing 7X, but I was about a 5X, and just as you say, everything was baggy, everything was oversized. And of course, that's something else that's changed in this modern era. People are showing everything all the time, and there's no hidden treasure.
I think the problem is
where's the hidden treasure?
And I get it. It's a different world, so people want to advertise themselves, and I understand
promoting.
I'm completely closed-minded to the news world of bodybuilding. Ours was a different generation.
Yeah,
so things do change.
It was.
But at the same time, again, a lot of the time, and you even see it with pros now, you'll see pictures in the gym, and then you'll see stage pictures, and you're not as impressed.
True.
And the thing is the pursuit of perfection was that you weren't satisfied yourself.
Correct.
But now we're in this day and age, people are posting pictures because they are satisfied.
Yes.
And that's and they're looking for validation.
Validation, confirmation, affirmation. Correct.
Tell them that you're great.
Correct. And Doug, as well as I don't care how this comes across. It'll sound like an old timer. Well, I am at 49, but again, in our era, we never got that praise. And if we got just even, I remember the likes of Hodgson and Kerry saying to me, literally under closed lips, "Yeah, it's all right. It's all right." That's as good as it got. Was you're all right, not good, not well done, not looking good. No, you're all right. And to hear you're all right from a condition maestro like Hodgson was like, well, that'll do me. If John says I'm looking all right, or not bad, pal, then I'm good to go. And I remember just cannibalising. I posted recently on Instagram a shot from my face at the Grand Prix. I look like Skeletor, and so I should do. Nothing left on my face, because how often have you been backstage and you look at the guy who's the smallest in clothes with a skeleton face, and there's your winner. There's your winner.
Every my victories were my lowest body weight.
Correct.
And,
yes. Yep.
And I remember Martin Alamago was one of the first bits of advice I had going into my doing my first show at the London South East. It was actually in King's Cross at the time.
Oh, was it?
And Julian Feinstein.
Julian Feinstein, yeah, he's gone nanny. And he made a big fuss about me.
I remember Martin saying to me, "Don't fear the guy that looks big.
Yep.
Fear the guy that looks small.
Yeah, small and close.
When he takes his top off, he's going to have shit going on.
Got it.
That you ain't going to believe."
Hidden treasure. Smallest guy on clothes.
And you know what? That was one of the best bits of it, because I actually was never ever concerned about my body weight anytime I ever competed. And I think that's what led me to a lot of the success I had.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well,
and Doug, that obviously I remember Mike Malamango from Venice, and he's still there now. He's actually very nice to me. I mean, I knew him as an acquaintance, but we were both PTing out of Golds, and this would have been 01, 02, 03. And but again, there's a certain group, historically speaking, and for me, it was those trips to Manchester to see, Ian Harrison, for example, is another one, even Ernie, and it was just, I would hear things on the regular like, no one drags a set of scales on stage, no one's taking your body weight today, no one's measuring your arms today. All these things were just drummed into me, whether I heard it from McTurnan or whether it was from the Northern Bunch, whoever, or Marky Wilson or Gary Lister in Coventry, it doesn't matter. It was just drummed into me that everything that we perceive happens in the gym is now thrown out of the window, because this is not about body weight, this is not about the scales, this is not about taking body part measurements, and and the difference between a gym physique, a gym body versus a stage physique, and that was really my greatest sort of memory was there are gym bodies which look wonderful in the gym. Loads, and we know this through social media now. But a stage physique is different.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, there was many times when, because I had that mindset, and I said that was really from Martin, I said my first show when I was 20 years old.
Wow.
I that stuck with me the whole time.
Yeah, and best advice.
I remember, and of course then later on in time, obviously training with a behemoth like Dave.
Yes. Yes.
That, of course, many were dwarfed by him, and me included. But the thing was, when we was leading into shows, the thing was, how can I put it? It was, a lot of the talk would always be about Dave's obviously enormous body weight.
He was a big guy. He was a big guy. Yeah.
And as I said, and obviously we didn't have the same kind of thought pattern on that.
No.
And don't get me wrong, Dave knew that structurally he had to be as big as he needed to be.
Yes.
But at the same time, it was always something that, I mean, obviously Dave was so headstrong, you couldn't say nothing.
Oh, he was stubborn man.
Yeah. So I was never gonna tell him he was wrong.
Right.
But I did what I went about my game plan, even though we trained together, and he went about it. But at the same time, I never lost the British qualifier, so it stood on its by the result.
Yes. There's a lovely picture of you and Dave that I've got set in my mind, and it's you're both at the top left-hand corner of the gym, and you're doing a front double bicep, and you're looking dry, that lovely delineation and separation, and Dave is sort of seated on the lying leg curl, kind of looking on a little bit in the background, and you're frowning, that intense frown that we all do when you do a compulsory shot. And I just, that picture of you and Dave, it's a lovely picture aesthetically, it's a lovely picture, but it also indicates the relationship, because there's almost, again, I'm looking too much into this psychologically, but because I know you both, again, the picture to me speaks 1,000 words, because I remember I just remember Dave arguing about stuff, and just there's certain things, if Dave said this microphone was blue, it was blue. Do you know what I mean? You could. Do you know what I mean? If there were certain things that you couldn't get by, you couldn't. Like we must do 12 reps. I'm like, okay, what's wrong with 15 reps? No, we're doing 12. I was like, okay, we're doing 12 reps then. All right, Dave. You wouldn't argue. It was so funny. And that was his greatest strength and greatest weakness.
Absolutely.
Alex said here, do you think Dave would have done things different in his era? What do you mean, Alex? Do you mean like in this era? Do you mean like?
It's a good question. Do
you mean differently, as in like if he knew the outcome, or do you mean as a bodybuilding?
I've got to say, Doug, look at this. This is lovely. Look, we've got 9 people here. This, as you say, a huge difference that you're here. I really appreciate this, mate. I really do.
No, but
because
anytime, you know what I mean.
On the one hand,
well,
you know.
Yes, in
this.
Well,
right.
I think I think.
Would he adapt to this era? That's the question, isn't it? Would he adapt? Yeah, would he be a stick in the mud? What? I think we know the answer.
Could have done it any different. I think it's your personality, and that's Dave's personality.
Dave, I mean, you knew Dave better than me. I knew Dave for a total of 2 years, and as you know, my relationship was more about music and movies than it was about bodybuilding. It's true, isn't it? You know,
Music.
It was. I used to go to see his family, and hell, I had a crush on his sister, you know, right? Because I used to go to Essex, and I got on rather well with his sister, and I was like, this is going to be awkward. And you know, the crazy thing is, I remember telling you this once, before we lost Dave, I remember his family, because I would go over there to get music off his friend Darren, DJ Darren, and I'd bring those compilations back to the gym. That was my little, you know, getting Dave's good books things. And I just remember them saying to me, you know, can you slow him down? I was like, look, for the record, I can't, Dougie can't, none of us can. Dave will do Dave, you know, literally till he dies. And that's exactly what happened. But, you know, was he a stick in the mud? Yeah. Was he an immovable object in terms of a stubborn bastard? Yes, he was, wasn't he? He was, you know, there was no...
Yeah. I mean, I remember, you know, I mean, even though it's something that you don't kind of want to sort of dwell on too much. I wouldn't want to dwell on the negative of it.
No.
But, you know, Dave, even in that, going into that last British that we did, you know, that prep, obviously, Dave, we didn't know how unwell he was.
No, we didn't.
And, you know, obviously, it's easy in hindsight to say about telltale signs.
There were.
Bloodshot eyes.
There were. Yeah, I was going to say, we saw it, didn't we?
But the truth was it was already spoken about, Dave going to doctor. I remember in one workout, Dave talking about going to the doctor, and
really,
the truth was, he said, "I'll do it after the British."
Yeah.
And that was it. And that's really all there is to say about it.
It's true. It's true. Yeah.
Because that's it. That's just who
after,
it was.
After
I don't
the show,
think he would have done anything different out. Do I think if he knew that it? You know, without sounding dramatic, but it's, you know, obviously we know how it ended up. Do I think he would have still done it, knowing that he would lose life? Then no, I don't. No, of course not.
No.
Who would?
No.
Who would? He wasn't a stupid guy. He was a stubborn guy.
Right.
He weren't stupid.
Stubborn, not stupid.
You know,
well said. Well said, Doug. Well said. And that's a massive distinction, and I think we should be really clear on that. Not to be politically correct, but just because it's the fucking truth. There's a difference between being stubborn and being stupid. And you know that if an actual medical doctor had said to DT, dude, you are literally playing with fire and you could go any day now, you know, like you say, the eyes, whatever, he would have gone, okay, I'm out. Because just the sheer love he had for his family, and he was very much family first. And as this is where stubbornness and trophy collecting can frankly do one and take the back seat, because and you know, I got, again, we don't need to go super detailed, but he's gone and we miss him. And I mean, there's, as you say, Doug, there's nothing, in fact, it's counterproductive to this conversation for either of us to go, well, woulda, coulda, shoulda, because what are we going to do? So say something now, he's going to come back? He's been gone over a decade. 2010, wasn't it? You know, and I remember going to his funeral the first morning of my first dialysis treatment. And I remember just after 6 hours of my first ever dialysis treatment, you know, sitting, listening to that service where the bloody vicar or whatever giving the service kept getting shit wrong, and you know, I was like, no, you got that information wrong. And I just remember cramping up pretty badly because I'd had dialysis for the first time. But yeah, it was, you know, like you say, he's gone and there's nothing more to say. But Alex's question I think is very relevant in that there are numerous bodybuilders. I mean, how many bodybuilders have we personally known, you know, and known deeply, that are no longer with us, and even those that are living, myself included, you know, Tom and Ken Wheeler, Flex Wheeler, and everyone, you know, over here, just the number of bodybuilders that whether it's stubbornness or just an inability to change. And I look at, what's the name? Boston Lloyd, right? Here's a name, Boston Lloyd. So I watched him recently because I remember back in 2016 when I was at Metro and Boston Lloyd was coming up, and, you know, like, again, I thought this gung-ho attitude cannot last because I know where it goes. You know, what are your thoughts on people like that? If we're talking in terms of being cavalier, what are your thoughts?
I think the thing is, Justice, people will do what they want to do. We did, right?
Well, this is it. This is what I'm admitting to. Yeah.
You know.
Hey, Lee. Saying hello to Lee.
Yeah.
No, you're right, Doug. We did. I mean, one thing I've always admired about you, and I've mentioned this to you in private, and I'll say it publicly because I know you won't mind. Numerous conversations I've had with you, specifically one that we were both doing afternoon cardio, and I'd finished my shift, and, you know, you'd finished teaching. And we were doing cardio at Metro on the treadmills. And I remember you saying to me that Bob Ciccarillo was in the conversation. And we were talking about bodybuilders in their late 40s, 50s, still playing the I want to be big game. And you said, you know what, I'm just going to come down. I'm going to bring my calories down, bring my body weight down, you know, have enough muscle. You know, you've still got a glorious physique. I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. I'm just saying as it is. You know, you've held on to a lovely physique without disappearing, but you're not pursuing the I must eat and get big and blow up, because it basically does shorten your life. And you said that to me back in 2015, Doug, and it's stuck in my head because, of course, by 2015, well, I was already, you know, I'd had my transplant, but I wish I'd had a bit more of the moderation that you've wisely adopted. That's what I'm saying.
Well, it's kind of you to say, but I think the thing is, Justice, I think the thing is it's hard because, as I said, everyone's different. It's easy to say, you know, oh, I did this. For me, all I can say is me personally, you know, obviously over the years and seeing people, you know, the things that we did, and some of us being more maybe unlucky, or should I say luckier than others.
There's luck in there as well. There is luck in there, and fate.
You know, and the truth is, none of us, I don't know any damage that I may have done to myself. You know, obviously I hope to God that I haven't. You know, should I imagine that the wall of my heart is thicker than the average?
Right.
You know, 20 years of using antibiotics. So yeah, but the thing is I think don't get me wrong, I still battle with it. I still thought, you know, you want to do courses, but then also I was seeing guys, and to be honest with you, I put it down to a little bit of my own vanity. I was seeing guys that came into the gym in their 40s, wanting to be a certain way. Right. I was looking at how red their faces were.
Right. Yes.
How puffy they looked.
Yes.
And I thought, you just want to turn around and say, oh, well, I'm 5'8", 17, 18 stone. And me personally, I looked at him, I just thought, you don't look well.
No, Doug, how many times, again, without getting into specifics or naming names, we don't need to, but there are dozens of conversations I've had with you from the desk, and you can look at someone 40 feet away, you can look at this and go, that person ain't well. And, you know, I've got photographs.
Well, you can see high blood pressure.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can, my friend. It's how many powerlifting and strongman events and shows, well, not so much shows, because shows you're sucked in, but you've seen it, I've seen it, literally hundreds of examples. And you know, there's shots of me when I was 25 stone, for God's sake. And I'm like this, you know, I'm about to blow. And you can see blood pressure.
I think the thing is if you love training, you know, I want to train for as long as I possibly can.
Sure.
I'd love to think that in my
60s and whatever, however long I live, I'll still be able to train.
Yeah, baby.
So,
yeah.
And for me to do that, I had to kind of look at how, you know, I train as a guy that's now 46.
Right.
You know, I have to look at it as I don't want to be heavy. I've been there, I've done it, and that's not me giving it the large. Oh yeah, I've done it.
Yeah, you know, but you have.
That's just me saying that, you know, I did that.
Yeah.
And the thing is I want longevity.
Thank you.
When I got into bodybuilding, obviously I realised my height. I couldn't look at someone like your stature that, you know, like, even as much as I loved Arnold, I knew he was a 6'1" geezer or a 6'2" geezer.
Yeah.
So, and even though Sean Ray is a
saying good night to Body Inventor Fitness. Yeah, thank you. Yes, he was. Yes. Yes.
When I looked at him, I thought, even if he couldn't, this looks like a guy that would look great in clothes.
Yeah.
This looks like a guy that could go and fucking do 100 meters.
Right.
This looks like a guy that could fucking play basketball.
Exactly.
Long jump.
Yes.
And that was the sort of physique that I was into. I was into Lee Labrada.
Right. Now you're talking. Francis Benfato, Sean Ray,
Francis Benfato.
Yeah, Barry DeMay.
Guys.
Yeah, man. Yeah, more attainable and livable. Exactly. It's very interesting that you should mention this, Doug, because I think it's indicative of our own body types that we inhabit. It will, to a large extent, dictate what we gravitate toward. Because again, being a 6'5" guy, I did look at Greg Kovacs, I did look at Dorin, I did look at Dillett, I did look at Jean-Pierre Fuchs. You know, I've just literally named the heaviest people in history. You know, right there. You know, Kovacs, disgusting physique, disgusting. You know, little arms and little legs and massive gut to rival and beat Palombos. So it's true. You know, and again, I secretly harboured nothing but respect and a desire for the smaller guys. You know, we all know that Flex Wheeler at 215, 218 pounds looked glorious compared to Flex Wheeler at 240. Flex should never have been the body weight of a Cormier or a Coleman. He wasn't built like that. Flex is a tiny guy. And I you know, the truth of it is, Doug, from 1990 when I began and got off my skateboard and, you know, till I walked away in 2017 after 27 years, was that in my heart I loved the Labrada, Francis Benfato, Serge Nubret, you know, Bob Paris, Barry DeMay, these beautiful, aesthetic, gorgeous physiques. But I knew that I was attempting to chase the mass monster, and in truth I was neither. In truth, my physique is really Dolph Lundgren, Rocky IV, right? Which when I achieved that after a couple of years, which I fucking did, should have gone, that's good, mate. That's hold enough. That's enough. Yeah. And, you know, we all live with regrets. And of course, you've seen my modelling photos. I'm not saying this because I'll embarrass myself, but I know my modelling photos really. That's pretty much what I should have just played with and gone, look, I'm a tall guy, I'm a wide guy, I've got nice aesthetics, leave it just. And my health went downhill when I had to be 22, 24 stone. And you know what? Dave did it as well. DT did it as well. We chased this monster, and it's too much. It's too much.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think it's easy. You know, we're all influenced by what we see, right?
Yeah.
But I think, you know, it was more of a, as I said, for me, it was always those sort of physiques. But then again, you know, and I think even now is the truth. Just, you know, I followed like Lee Labrada on social media.
Right.
He's very inspirational.
Isn't he? And doesn't he look great? Doesn't he look great?
And you know, as I said, nowadays, look, at the end of the day, if you want to live long, as you get older, you've got to eat less.
Yes.
There's some real basic things that you can follow in life.
It's true.
And as much as, look, I remember doing it, you know, you went to the doctors and they went, oh, for your height, you're morbidly obese.
Yeah,
You come back and you would say to everyone,
BMI,
I'm muscular.
Yeah.
But the truth is, a body mass index, the reason they take your height is because it's what your skeletal frame is meant to handle.
Yeah.
So if you're 2 stone overweight, whether you're muscular or fat, you're still morbidly obese.
It's true.
Because it's a pressure on your heart.
It's true.
So when you get into your 40s, and you know, and as I see guys that, you know, still want to take large doses of anabolic steroids, you know, and to just it's your ego, you know, for what? You don't look good. Guess what? You would look better if you stopped taking them. How about that?
There you go. Exactly. And they don't want to hear this. They don't want to hear this because, you know, I remember being, I don't know, Doug, in my mid-30s, you know, and, well, actually, truth be told, my problems began in my mid-30s, you know, 15 years ago when I was 30. Well, I'm 49 now. And I remember hearing from 50-year-olds, it's a young man's game. It's a young man's game. And it is. And again, not to name drop, but Dorian himself has said to me, you know, once you're 40, 45, if you're still behaving like a 25-year-old, you've got a problem. You've got a problem, you know, socially and in terms of training and gear and food and sups and just the entire approach. You should not be deep into your 40s going, I want to behave. What's that? Great stories of bodybuilders, a great era gone by. I hope you guys will do more of these. That's lovely. Who said that? Chris Platinum. You see, Doug, look at what this has done tonight for figures. I've never had this much traffic. Again, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful.
No, but you have to be grateful. Well, thanks for having me. Thanks for having me on.
I mean, let's do it on the regular because do you know one thing? You're one of 3 people in my life that we don't ever encounter moments of saying fuck all to each other. You know, because it's true. It's true.
Well, you're the most, but you know, I have diarrhea as well.
Yeah, but that's why we get on, and it's lovely because if we're not laughing and pissing ourselves, and the other thing is, you and I have also had conversation, always actually, outside of bodybuilding. You know, I think friendships are doomed. They're very one-dimensional if it's just, how much did you bench press today? You know, it's like, oh, you boring bastards. Do you know what I mean? It's look at our Star Wars relationship. You know, look at our, you know, we've got about 4 relationships, you and I. We've got the Star Wars one, we've got the UFC one, we've got the bodybuilding one, we've got the clothing one, the women one. You know,
I was going to say, is this some sort of... are you wearing a black denim?
Black denim shirt, yeah. Black denim shirt, yeah.
Tonight?
Yeah.
I did notice.
Thank you.
The denim shirt.
Yeah, black rocking the.
We're very kind of like deep south trucker.
Exactly right. Exactly. Black. And again, that's come from you. That's come from you. You know, you said to me, you were coaching me with clothing years ago. You said to me, you know, but this was at Metro. You started coaching me. You were like. White t-shirt, black t-shirt, lumberjack shirt, denim shirt, white. You know, there are classic looks. You know, and even walking around Blue Water with you, and I was jealous of you because you could go and get a large or whatever and put it on. I'd be like, oh fuck, it fits him like a glove. Shit, you know what I mean? I was like, oh my god, you know. And with me,
one of the benefits of being smaller.
Well, it's the sleeve length and the leg length. I mean, you know, although you have probably had problems with legs, haven't you? Because you've always had big legs. So you know, but I just I enjoy the clothes these days.
Lee said here, when you guys started out, did you have a vision of where you wanted to get to, or did you model yourself on people that had a similar build? Well, I think you kind of said that.
Good question, though. Good question. Well, I mean, certainly for me, it was Dolph Lundgren. I remember being in John Menzies in Bournemouth because we, you know, Double Eight Smiths and John Menzies, and I had my skateboard in my hand, which puts me at 18. I was driving, had my skateboard, and there was a picture of a Flex magazine. And it could have been Akim Albrecht or Dolph Lundgren or Stallone or Arnold, one of the obvious ones of the 90s. And I remember my skateboarding friends giggling at the Muscle Mag, right, and saying, oh, that was gay, right? This was the year that Madonna released her book called Sex. It's an aluminium book, right? And do you know what? I regret getting rid of that because I actually had 2 copies and they go for big money now. Anyway, my mates were laughing at Muscle and Fitness. And you know, it might even have been Mike O'Hearn on the front cover on the beach, for all I remember. But I looked at it and thought, I like that, because I was just a skinny, lanky rake. Then I saw Rocky IV, Dolph Lundgren, I'm all in. That was it. What about you? Was there a moment like that?
I'm sure I most probably told you this before. Just me and my dad used to watch wrestling.
Oh, of course.
All the time.
Of course.
And started off with old English wrestling on normal terrestrial TV.
Pat Roach, Mick McManus.
If there is anyone young watching us, they won't know.
No, they won't. Giant Haystacks, Big Daddy.
When we only had 4 channels on the TV.
That's it. Well, three.
And,
Channel 4 was the new one. It was on Grandstand Saturday afternoon. Yeah.
And then they started showing every now and again. They started showing what were they called it WWF then? You know, the Hulk Hogan.
That's it. Road Warriors. Yeah.
Because I was always kind of short, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then obviously my brother being 6 years older than me.
Yeah.
And my brother was getting ready to join Royal Marines.
Right.
And my mum bought him a weight set.
Was it a wider weight set? Wider? Yeah.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
And with the fucking terrible leg extension.
Yes,
God forbid,
really sketchy.
Skin on the legs.
That's it.
Oh my God.
With the foam, awful.
There was no padding. It was
awful foam. Yeah, it was. Yeah, awful.
Fucking brutal. But anyway, and so I used to watch wrestlers. So then all of a sudden, my dad had a friend, Barry, and he went to a proper bodybuilding gym.
Right.
And he took me one Sunday, and I tell this story quite a lot, but
Go
he
on.
took me one Sunday, and everyone in there just seemed like absolute fucking gorillas.
Right.
You know?
Like real men.
There was a lot of gangsters, but there was a lot of like you was underweight if you was 17 stone.
Yeah, it's true. It's true, man. It's true. That's so true.
Selwyn Cottrell was in there.
Oh, I remember Selwyn. Yeah.
Ian Wadley was in there.
Wow.
And a guy called Herman Jimenez.
Yes, I know all three of those. Yes.
And he lost the overall to Eddie Elwood.
Oh my God, Eddie Elwood. You see, now he was a 6'4", 6'5" guy. Yeah.
Yeah. And my dad's mate Barry said to me, "I'll come and have a look at this guy." Now, as a young, I think I was 15. I thought, "What do you mean, look at this guy?" Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's confusing, isn't it?
I found it all rather sort of homosexual.
Yes, homoerotic, yes.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
These men in a state of undress. What's going on?
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, I thought, oh, they've got me to do all of these weights, so my arms are dead and I can't fight anyone off.
The pump means you can't throw down, yeah. Go on.
And then Herman stripped off and started posing, and I had never seen anything like that before in my life.
Right. Was this in the gym?
I was sort of looking for my calling because my brother knew what he wanted to do in joining the Marines.
Right.
And anyone asked me, "Oh, do you know what you want to do, Doug?" I go, "No."
Okay.
I didn't have a fucking clue. Do you know what I mean?
So was Bruv 21 and you were about 15, yeah? That's the age gap, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my brother was already in the Marines by that time.
Okay.
My brother joined the Royal Marines when he was 17.
Okay. Wow.
And so I was like, yeah, actually, this is kind of what I want to. This is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And then I just sort of used to hassle my old man for money to go to the gym. But really, similar to yourself, it was wrestlers.
Yeah.
But then, of course, it was Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Right. Stallone and Van Damme, yeah. Chuck Norris, Bruce Lee, Arnold. This is it.
Yeah.
This is it. We had 80s action heroes, didn't we? With physiques. Yeah.
And I remember because, obviously, when I saw Jean-Claude Van Damme...
Oh, he was a god.
Bastard.
Yes.
And I remember seeing, films like Kickboxer and Double Impact.
No Retreat, No Surrender. Real pieces of shit, but great, right? Yeah.
You know, and of course, there's a 15-year-old guy, plenty of hormones
just
going through me. I thought, fucking hell, if I can build my body up,
this is it.
Guy's beating birds off with his shit.
Yeah. It's true, though. It's true. Because you wanted the physique. It's literally back to Charles Atlas kicking sand in your face, skinny boy, isn't it? You can see how what they were doing in the 50s and 60s after the war is what we had that second wave in the 80s. Our diet was action stars, like you say. You know what? Dude, I remember going to the video store with Dad and renting out Predator, or Commando, and seeing a muscular Arnold and literally sitting there, aged 15, 1986, 1987, on a Sunday afternoon, eating pizza with Dad and brother, going, "I want arms like that." That was it. my entire world had come apart.
Who didn't want to be Sly Stone?
Yeah.
Or Jean-Claude Van Damme?
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. And all we saw was abs, pecs, and guns, and we were like, "I want a bit of that. I want a bit of that." And
so that's where,
that's where it comes from.
Basically, for both of us, then it was not even bodybuilders.
Yeah, this is it. This is it. It's actually film, and yeah, it is. It's really interesting, actually. I think that's very indicative of the era that we were raised in. I know it's a long, convoluted answer to Lee's question, but I bet if you went around and you got, even look, I keep mentioning Dorian, but because Dorian's such a household British name, but I mean Dorian's a decade older than me. Let me think. Hang on, Dorian's 10 years older than me, so that still means his trajectory of that timeline would still have been quite possibly more Steve Reeves or
he was into Bruce Lee as well.
Exactly, Bruce Lee.
Like Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee, exactly. And it just shows that crossover between like you say, Jean-Claude Van Damme, martial arts movies, and may I say, breakdancing. Because breakdancing was, again, there were guys with their tops off, and Jean-Claude Van Damme's early film had a little walk-on part in breakdancing. So even from 14, 15 in the mid-80s, from BMXing, skateboarding, breakdancing, I'm not being funny, Doug, me on the ice doing ice hockey, it was still hard men, muscular, tough men, watching Rob Lowe in Youngblood, right? Ice hockey, right? Pretty boy Rob Lowe, but he still had his top off, glistening, and you're like, again, Patrick Swayze, Keanu Reeves.
Swayze.
Yeah.
One of my favourite
Point Break
is still Roadhouse.
Oh, I thought you'd be bigger, Dalton. Yeah, exactly right. It's true. It's true. And you look at that film now and you're like, oh my God, it's so homoerotic. Top Gun, again, Val Kilmer, Tom Cruise, all these 80s films, whether it's Roadhouse, whether it's Point Break, it's 1990, but it was guys in shape, tops off, fighting, surfing, Roadhouse, whatever, Stallone and Cliffhanger, all these things we saw, it was pumped into us, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think the thing is I think like a lot of things just, don't get me wrong, obviously bodybuilding was the thing that kind of, it started off there, and then of course, just like bodybuilding and our bodies, it grew with our obsession, right?
Yes.
But the truth is I think most of us could, like you said earlier, when you got to that sort of level of physique, the truth is I've even heard Jay Cutler say his favourite physique was 2001 when he was
Interesting.
You just said a minute ago, you'd already attained that sort of
I'd done it.
You should have stopped there.
I should. Doug, truth be told, and I'm happy to say this, I recently looked at photographs of me somewhere between late 90s and my very first Stars of Tomorrow first timers. That's really where Justin House as a body should have stopped. Not 22 stone, but stay at 17, 18 stone with my tiny waist and, big shoulders, big thighs. Leave it, because I'd actually surpassed what Dolph Lundgren had done. I'd gotten there in a couple of years. That Rocky IV physique of being like Drago, I looked at Drago and thought, oh, you skinny fuck. Once I got there, because I was infected with bodybuilding by then.
Yeah. I mean, that's same for me. I think my 05 look at the British was most probably my favourite.
Yeah.
Even though it was my lightest
weights. And that's a lesson, isn't it?
The thing is that, so again, sort of going full circle, I think, that's the same reason why now I think also we're always trying to reinvent ourselves.
Yes.
And I, even though obviously, not competing for over 5, 6 years now, I need that. I always still need something to kind of chase within myself.
Yeah.
And that thing that I'm chasing really is a reinvention. And without sounding too deep or too cringy, it's not just because it's not just physical. I'm a different person.
Absolutely.
Than I was 5, 6 years ago.
You are.
And
we both are.
and you know, so it's kind of a complete transformation. I know it sounds corny as fuck, but
it doesn't, Doug.
Do you know what I mean?
No, it doesn't.
I think I felt my own dick shrivel up a little bit there as I said that, but you know, it's you know, but you know, it's true. You know,
it is true.
Now, I mean, and I've been dropping weight over the last sort of 17 weeks. I mean,
right.
You know, after Christmas and all the rest of it, I enjoyed Christmas, and I got into sort of December, and then February rolled round, and obviously we was on lockdown.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone knows I had access to a gym, and then I thought, right, okay, I need another goal. And then, you know, and also with something else, I started with that, which was a new goal, and then, you know, and I've been bringing my weight down, and I got to admit, I feel better mentally and physically than I have done in a long, long time. Not to say that was in a bad place, because it wasn't.
No.
Say that. You know, I was feeling good, but now really, I you know, and as you know, I'm a tart. I love clobber and all the rest of it, and it's great because I'm seeing it as a new chapter. I don't train heavy anymore.
Right.
I'm not going to injure myself in trying to live certain ways. Don't get me wrong. As you know, in Metro, there's a lot of very strong guys.
There are.
I look at what they're doing sometimes and think, oh, fuck, I wish I could have sort of a 35-year-old Doug back in here doing this. But you know, the truth is doing what I'm doing now. I mean, we're never satisfied, but I'm certainly content.
That's really good. That's lovely to hear, because I you know what, I second what you're saying. Whatever the motivation is, whether, as you say, this really this revolution, you know, no, evolution is the word, not revolution, evolution, where you have evolved, and whether that be because you've just gotten to a stage in your life and you realise it's prudent to do so, or, if I'm going to be honest, you know, from a medical standpoint, you know, my doctors and surgeons at Guy's in London are now saying to me, guess what, Justin, you're going to live longer. You know, Doug, and you know, another area where I always give you eternal credit and thanks, and I've told Lee this story, you know, you were actually physically there on the Saturday night, and you were on your way out, and you came to see me at King's as my kidneys failed, and my blood pressure was 215 over 205, and I was very close to dying. My point is, you've seen me at my worst. You've seen me literally, you know, is Justin going to be dead by Monday? You know, it was very bad. So I'm incentivized medically to live longer with a transplant. And on the 19th of June, which is 12 days away, my kidney turns 8 years old. You know, my brother's kidney turns 8 years old. So the difference is that in the year, when I started lockdown last March, I was 147 kilos. I'm 31k lighter. I'm now 116. So I've dropped 31 kilos, and I've kept it off, and I eat once or twice a day, and that's it. And I have no more fluctuations in blood sugar level. I'm controlling my diabetes without insulin. So whatever my motivation is now, it's as big a motivator to live as it was when I was 21, wanting to look like Dolph Lundgren. You know, it's just a different, it's just a different type of motivation, but the need is still there. So
yeah, but that's why, you know, and I said to you, I know sometimes you always refer to yourself as, you know, like not being a bodybuilder, but the truth is that's where you still are, because we never lose that.
No,
because
I still train like one in the gym.
It's about the mindset. It's not actually about. It's not about the physique.
Yes.
You know, and the mindset don't change. Look, yes, I'm not the size I once was. Matter of fact, I'm most probably the lightest I've been in a long, long time.
Right.
You know, apart from when I lost my dad, and that was really just through sheer stress. But, you know,
we both know what that's like. Yeah.
You know, I'm I say about 13 stone 10.
Brilliant. You look great.
I feel light on my feet, and I feel good for that.
Yeah.
And you know, obviously for you being lighter with the things going on that you have with your health, but the thing is you still have those goals, you still have those things that you want to do. And the truth is, if someone like you can lose that sort of body weight,
you know, and you are someone that's had to stay at home because obviously, you know, being
clinically extremely vulnerable,
transplant and all the rest of it, high risk. You lost all of that weight, and you did that from being at home.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, that shows that you still have that discipline and that mindset.
Absolutely.
That you've always had as a bodybuilder to be able to do that.
Thank you. No, thank you. It's, you know, my brother, I had my first public outing last Friday. We had some lunch in his golf club, and it felt amazing to be, you know, out in public just having a lunch.
Right in the golf club, eh?
Yeah, right, exactly, the golf club, you know. I was like, oh my...
The piss, mate.
Yeah, I'm going to a posh golf club now, you know, I was like, oh my God, let me try golf, you know. And it's just funny, I just, you know, he said to me, he said, I'm so glad, because, you know, let's be honest, it's his kidney in me. And he said, thank you for looking after it, you know, thank you for not fucking it up, you know, thank you for... Because there's no point in him giving me a kidney if I was going to go off and be a heavy bodybuilder again. And yeah, you know, the whole idea with a transplant is that you...
Anyway, just look,
I know.
No, look, I'm not going to discredit the sport I love. Right, but let's get it right. We all started off, one thing that we've really kind of ascertained in this conversation, we all started off because there was someone that we saw in a film, or some sports person that we liked. So we started off being into fitness.
Yes.
And yes, the testosterone in us, we wanted to be bigger. Well, everyone does, right? So we did that. But the truth is things always end up going full circle.
Yes, they do, yeah.
And the truth is now we're older.
Yep.
Now we want to be healthier, we want to be fitter, and we want to have that things, because ultimately we know to have longevity in life, this is key.
Yeah.
As well as the vanity of it.
Yeah. Well said.
You know, and that's the thing. You know, we want to look good. You want to look good, and when you put a t-shirt on.
Well, this is it, Doug. Yeah.
You know, you want, when you walk down the street when it's the summer, you just want someone to think, oh, that guy looks like he trains.
Yeah, exactly that. And dude, I have had to buy the last year an entire new wardrobe on Amazon. I can't describe the pleasure I get from literally typing in fruit of the loom. Yeah, I love it, Doug. I love it. You know, I'll go and buy a Fruit of the Loom t-shirt for 2XL, and it fits. You know, I'm like, oh my God. Here we go. I've got 20 seconds remaining.
Oh fucking hell!
We've done 2 hours. What I'm going to do?
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna come back on, and then we'll say goodbye, good night properly.
Okay.
All right. So I've literally got 5 seconds now, and wait for it. 3, 2, 1. And I'm going to come back. All right. Okay. Cheers. Right. Share. So next, TrueHouse. 368 part 2. Part 2. Okay. And we're back live on TrueHouse, 2-hour live stream. And let me just wait for Doug to come back. Check my hat. Great 2-hour conversation. So we're 120 minutes in. Here we are. There's Lee. The wave to Lee. Let's get some people back in the room. Let's get some people back. I'm going to say, here's Dougie, so let's get Dougie back in. And here we go. Let's get Dougie back on. This is fantastic, guys. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. He'll come back on any second now. 3, 2, 1. There he is. I'm so happy, Doug. I mean, it just goes to show 2 hours has flown by. We've been talking for 2 hours. And it feels like, if you said to me, how long did you talk to Doug for? I'm like, oh, I don't know, half an hour. It proves,
Should we be surprised?
Exactly. And do you know what? How often? I mean, I remember the hundreds of Rogan podcasts that I've watched as a, and it's not even like, I was saying to my brother, it's not even like I'm specifically into Joe Rogan, because Rogan's actually talking less than he ever has. And I find it fascinating how Rogan has very wisely evolved. He's 53 now, so he actually started at 42. He's 11 years in, and he's learning the art of. I mean, look at this. Look, Jen Taylor. Thank you, Jen. It just shows that listening is so important rather than waiting your turn to talk. And I think so many people, especially in this social media platform, they're so prone to not listening to what people are saying and just trying to crash in with, I love the sound of my own voice so much that I can't wait to talk over you. And Rogan's talking less and interviewing more interesting people than ever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the fact that people have been very kind and listened to us.
They are. I mean, I'm literally waving at every name I see, but it proves. I mean, again, Doug, I've got to give you credit, because I've proven to myself that I don't have an issue with talking to no one. I've done it 368 times, but above all, I'm a conversationist. I like humans. I like humans like you that I can have a two-way chat with, and it just flows. We're not sitting there going, "Oh, doggy, what should we talk about?" This is effortless. It's effortless, and we're also not competing. We're not competing, going, "Oh, let me try and say something cooler than that." That doesn't happen. It's lovely.
Yeah, well, a bit too old. I think a bit too old for that, competing like these
yes,
days. But
yes.
But I listen to you all the time, as much as I've.
No, you've been so supportive. You've been so.
Yeah, no, but it's good, you know. And I mean, through lockdown, especially when we were on proper lockdown, it was almost like having someone to talk to through lockdown. Just
thank you, Lee.
Pressing on the hearts or making a comment.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and,
you have.
And that helped. That helped with me. That helped me too. So I think
mutually.
I think the thing is it's good to see, and I would urge anyone that a little bit of an ad, but obviously TrueHouse stream every night, Monday to Friday.
Thank you.
Come and give him an ad. And
join in.
And, whether it's myself and
please.
Justin knows a wealth of people, whether you're into bodybuilding or tech. Justin loves his phones as well, because I
do love the phones. Yes.
I see Duke on there, who's learned his way in tech, has his own company now.
Oh, really?
He does football videos and all the rest of it, drones and all the rest of it.
Oh, wow.
Shout out to Beckham Wright, Cup winners.
Oh, wow. That's so cool.
But yeah, so check Justin out on here.
Thank you.
Friday, right, Justin?
Thank you so much. Seriously, Doug, thank you, because I just, I remember starting this channel because obviously I did get this block ban from Instagram by daring to post one too many George Orwell quotes, which spoke the truth. One of my American friends, John Hawkins, said to me, how dare you speak the truth, TrueHouse, and the algorithm doesn't like you now. And it just goes to show that, again, what topsy-turvy times we're living in. You can find, frankly, very hardcore gay porn on Twitter and YouTube. You can find that shit really quickly. But if I say things like, the further a society drifts from the truth, the more it will hate those that speak it, me, then even though I've got a tiny audience, I've come on here to not lie, and that's the thing. I will never lie about my past. I will never lie about what I have or haven't done in life, and that was part of the whole cathartic bit, the healthy healing bit, is that if I can go on camera each night and tell the truth, and then no one can say, yeah, but I remember what you were like at 25. I'm like, yeah, exactly. Well, let's talk about what I was like at 25, and to do that without shame. And
well, I think you're always honest. You're honest about yourself.
Everything. That's my starting point.
If anything, slightly, as a friend, slightly harsh on yourself.
Yeah.
None of us have a clean record.
I do flog myself too hard, with the self-loathing.
None of us have a clean record, pal. Do you know what I mean? But it's not about where you've been. It's where you're at.
Yes.
And to be honest with you, the truth is that if anyone really felt that strongly, they just wouldn't watch.
True.
If I
was
watching someone and the truth is I wouldn't even fucking tune in.
You've got the option of not watching. Yeah, this is it. And one thing. Go on. Sorry.
No, and I was just going to say, and the truth is that we all have opinions, we all have views on certain things and all the rest of it, and the truth is we're not all going to agree, but then that's also what makes it. Yeah, I'm not offended by it. I have my opinions about certain things. I don't expect everyone to agree with me. It's just my opinion. Yeah. And the truth is if we have a different opinion, don't mean that we can't not be friends. And I think that's the problem.
Well said, Doug.
Right now.
Well, yeah.
He's nailed it. Now we're made to feel that if you don't share the same opinion, you must hate each other. Well
done. Thank you, mate. Thank you, because this is let's have this chat another night. And by the way, thank you, Lee, for saying that. What Doug's just said there is really, really bloody vital, because what I can't be more serious than what I'm about to say. The media, the narrative, as you say, in family feuding, work colleagues, friends, acquaintances, peers. If you have a difference of political opinion, or someone's into, I don't know, whether it's, whether you're a conservative or Labour or Republic or Democrat, or I don't know, whatever your feelings about abortion are, or war, it's like people are being told to not even speak now, and we're seeing it in Britain and we're seeing it in the USA, that this division, as you say, Doug, that I don't know a fucking thing about football. If you said, can Justin House have a conversation about football? No, I can't tell you what offside is. I don't get the game. But do I appreciate those athletes that can kick a ball around? Fucking hell yeah. Am I a fan of football? Do I watch football? Not since I was 10 years old with my dad, no. But the point is, I get it enough to appreciate it. And it's just, as you say, we can have a difference of opinion without having to hate each other. And that's very troubling. The message by the media is, if you don't have the same opinion, Doug, then we can't be friends.
Yeah, divide. But I mean, the thing is I think, politics, and I don't hide it. Anyone who is following me on here knows that I don't hide my political persuasion.
No, you don't.
But again, that doesn't mean that if you're Labour sport or whatever, I disagree with you. Do you know what I mean? I might think you're a lazy bastard, but
true. True.
It doesn't bother me. And the thing is it's no more different. If people now, everyone thinks about diversity and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
And people feel that they have to say certain things.
Yeah.
So instantly, then you're a good person because
right.
You said it.
Yeah.
If you really feel that you need to say certain things.
Right.
To show people you're a good person.
Yeah. Virtue.
It just shows that you're kind of insecure.
It does. It does. Purity testing.
And the thing is anyone that obviously knows me, a lot of people from Metro and all the rest of it has jumped on here. The thing is there is no diverse place than being at Metro Flex Gym. And when I say diverse, that's not just a colour thing.
No.
That is a thing of where from all different walks of life.
God, yeah.
The truth is, we would have most probably never ever met unless it weren't for Metro Flex Gym. And the truth is,
you've nailed it. We're in this
big old boiling pot, and the truth is, no one sees anything else but just what we are, and that's, we all have a good bit of banter.
Yes.
No one sees or hears anything else. But unfortunately, this shit going on the fucking TV right now. The truth is they want to divide us.
I was going to say that. They do.
And the great thing was, when I came back to work and Metro opened, and a couple of times, I'll admit, I did have a little bit of doubt. I thought, fucking hell.
Really?
People are going to be different to me. Different.
Right.
Different. And it was so good. I had the first day we opened, and I saw everyone. I came back. I was fucking buzzing.
Were you? Was it great to come back?
Buzzing. It was great. I was having banter, and I thought, no, everyone is exactly the same.
Good.
Everyone's good.
Good.
Because and it showed how much that shit on the media was polluting.
It is, Doug.
And
It
I'm
is.
someone who doesn't really buy into
No,
that.
you don't. You don't subscribe to that nonsense. And you're right. It's, you know, I've said it so many times. It's very hard now to watch conventional TV, you know, the legacy media, mainstream media, because it's polluting. You know, are you this or are you that? And if you're not, God forbid, you mustn't speak. And as you say, Doug, our paths would not have crossed in 2009 had it not been for Metroflex. So our common ground was the gym, you know, and you know, how on earth geographically would you and I have met otherwise? You know, I'm from Bournemouth, I've been living in Essex, I'd lived in Los Angeles and London, and then I'm in SE26 and we meet. You know, Doug, that's 13 years ago. And it's just, you know, mate, you've nailed it. You've nailed it. Again, they, when we say they, we're talking about the media. And they've got a lot to answer for, Doug, because this was never something until the last year or two that any of us had to deal with. You would gravitate towards people with like minds, and again, we could be from different backgrounds, different religions, different colour, different sex, I don't care, you know, if whatever. But a melting pot, like you say, like Metro, where we would all meet together and no one gave a shit about, you know, what you're from. You know, whether you're a street person or whether you're a posh person or black or white or gay or straight.
We're all on the street.
Yeah, man, fucking right. We're all street urchins. We're all street scum.
We're all from
You
the
know,
street, mate.
it's just and again, thank you to you, because there's another thing that you've been driving home for the last half a year. You're right. I do dog myself. I do publicly slag myself off for everything, and you know, you're like, so many times you've said to me in a text, it's just about now and what you're saying now and the Justin House you are now moving forward. You know, stop with the self-hatred thing, and I, you know, that's more help, Doug, than any antidepressant or any shrink that I've had. So, so thank you again. Thank you. You know,
no, but it's true. I mean, you know, that's what it's all about, right? I mean,
thank you.
As friends through the years and gone through different things and all the rest of it, and you know, being just being, you know, true friends and being there for each other. It doesn't matter, you know, whether it's the little moments, the big moments. We've done that for each other, but you know, we don't need to say it because we know it, right?
Absolutely. Fucking love you, man. Right, we've done literally about 2.25 hours, which is fantastic.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Oh,
my arse is officially
no, I was going to say.
I could have an army of guys go through my arse off like that, and I wouldn't feel a thing.
I love it. Right, thank you, listen, mate. Look. You know, to you, to Lee, to anyone, it's an open offer. But specifically, you know, you and Lee have been my first, as it were. And I'm just mega grateful, Doug. So look, you know, we speak most days anyway. So Lee's laughing.
Thank you for having me on,
but no, it's an dude. It's an honour. It's an honour. All right. So until next time. All right. I'm going to say good night to you, and thank you. And look, you've bought the traffic, Doug. You sexy motherfucker. You've bought the loves. The people are liking it. So again, thank you for that. All right, you know, again, you and Lee have brought life to a live stream that was just one talking head, me just doing that, and now it's a conversation which makes it so much more interesting. And again, this is an open offer to anyone who wants to come on like Doug and Lee have and just bloody talk.
I told
honestly.
You, the one thing I know you'd be really good at, Justin, I told you this before.
Go on.
You'd be great at interviewing someone. You could do the Joe Rogan thing all day long.
Thank you.
You've got the vocabulary. You wouldn't stumble on your words.
No.
You know what to say.
Thank you.
And whether that be Dorian, Tom, whoever, you know, my pal, you know, Dan Overheady, UFC referee.
Yes.
And all of that could happen, and you could ask them whatever you wanted to ask them.
Absolutely.
Really, you know.
Thank you.
That's
That's all I want. That's all I want to see you do, and
thank you.
Because I think you can see how everyone loves to see the interaction. So
yes.
Yeah, go forward, bruv. And
damn right. I will.
Run with it.
Thank you. All right. Big love to you. I'll speak to you very soon. All right. Thank you. Cheers. Take care. See you. Oh man, that was lovely. That was so lovely. Wow. All right, I'm going to say goodnight to YouTube as well. That was my dear friend Doug Kelly for the last 2.25 hours, an absolutely fabulous human being. I am so happy. Thank you, and I'll see you tomorrow night for 369.